G'day watchers, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to feature another brand that I haven't featured before. This is a Girard Perregaux, and a shout out quickly to Avstev Investments, who are the Australian distributor of this brand, and they have made this available for review. So a quick shout out to them. Thank you very much for this piece. Really is a high horology piece as far as I have seen. So the company, I'm not going to say too much about it, but they are a high-end horology manufacturer. 1791 roots all the way back there, but the Girard Perregaux name really came into existence from about 1856. Amongst their achievements are that they made the first high beat 36,000 beat per hour movement back in 1965. So check out their website, if you will, for more of the history as well as other sources. Now, without further ado, let's get into this. Now, this is, of course, not the box that this would come in. This is, I think this is a travel carry case, and it's a pretty nice one, actually, I must say. Leather or faux leather, and it's very nicely padded and gives you confidence that if this was dropped accidentally, the watch will indeed be protected. So let's just get out the watch, and comes in this cushion. All right, so that's just a travel case there, and let's show you the watch itself. All right, guys, so this is the Girard Perregaux 1966 series date and moon phases. This model is called the date and moon phases. Full model number below if you want to look this up specifically, and all links of course will be made available. The MSRP for this, surprising to me because I didn't know, was actually $9,300. Now, for sale through Grey Retail and Amazon and whatnot, you will find this for around $7,000 if you do purchase through Grey Retail. Of course, if you go to an authorized dealer, it would be somewhere between the full MSRP and Grey Retail price. Okay, so getting into this particular movement. Now, the movement is the Girard Perregaux 3300 series movement, 3300. This movement is the subdenotation 0118, 295 component movement. So, quite a high component count for a high horology manufacturer. Of course, you wouldn't really shortcut the amount of components. And the movement series is for, of course, the complication of the date and the moon phase. They're implemented at that 6 o'clock subdial. Central is really just the hour, minute, and second hand, as you will in a three-hander otherwise. Now, just show you quickly the finishing here, which really is something that I really quite enjoyed looking at. So it's finished with Geneva stripes, as you can see, the very popular Geneva striping. It also has a circular graining or guilloching all over. Hopefully that translates as I show this on camera. And it's got beveling in many parts. I guess the plates, the bridge as well has beveling. And I think, using my naked eye, the screw holes may have beveling. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't taken the magnifier to kind of examine the screws and the screw holes here, but certainly there's the beveling on several parts of the movement here. So, there is, I guess, hand level finishing on several levels of this movement. 28,800 beat per hour, 27 joules is what this movement has, and a 46-hour reserve. So, relatively high power reserve. It does have hacking. It does have manual winding, and it does that at the 0 position here. It does have quick set for the date and moon phase, and I'll just quickly show you that. That's not implemented by the crown, that's actually implemented by the pushers. So this pusher there at the roughly 7:30 position is for the moon phase. So I'll just use my wooden pointer, and you can see that moon phase advancing a day as you push it. So that's really the moon phase adjustment, and on this side is the date setting there. Is on that pusher there. So if I push that, you can see the date hand advancing a day at a time. All right, so that's how the quick set for the day and the moon phase is adjusted. All right, in use, this has proven to be very well regulated. It's actually counting about +2 or +3 seconds per day for me. So very, very pleasing, very, very well regulated, even though it's not a cost chronometer. I guess it probably doesn't really need to be, as long as it's regulated in a very good level by the company. The case itself, right, moving on to the case, 40 millimeter diameter. So, pleasing size, I think, in my opinion. 316L steel. The thickness is pretty good, right? 10.8 millimeters, so a smidgen under 11 millimeters for this automatic wristwatch. And that's mostly courtesy of the movement. The movement is actually slightly under 5 millimeter thickness. So they've really made, really quite a thin movement for this high finishing, for this product to fit into a watch that's under 11 millimeters thick. Lug width, 20 millimeters, classical. So 40 width, 20 millimeter lug, just absolutely classical. And the lug to lug is a very modest 45 millimeter between my thumbs there. The overall weight, even though this is a steel bracelet watch, is a pleasingly light 110 grams adjusted. I've removed a couple of links, from the watch at its full length. So it'll be slightly heavier when it's straight out of the box, but that's a very pleasing weight actually on the wrist, 110 grams. The finishing, right, as you can see me pan it around, is fully polished. Even the case back is fully polished. Right, the lugs are pleasingly curved, so they sit on the wrist quite nicely. You see the curved shape on the lugs there. Right, the case back, as you can see me already pan it around, is a display, and that's actually a sapphire crystal display back, not just a glass display, right? But interestingly, it doesn't appear to have any screw notches, so it does appear to be possibly a friction case back for a dress watch, which is not inappropriate, I think, for a dress watch. And the crown is not a screw crown, it's a push crown, and it's rated at 30 meter for the water rating here. The dial is really quite a very pleasing silver satin, that's really what it is. And let's just go a bit closer and let you look at the detail here, and how the dial actually reflects light and how the light plays on it is really quite a pleasing thing that I have experience. And when I have this watch on the wrist, applied markers, 12 applied markers in simple batons, and I guess it's relatively simple leaf hands with a leaf counterbalance on the central second hand here. And there's no loom on this watch, as is not inappropriate, I think, for a dress style watch. This really very much is a formal style dress watch, and if you swap it out for a leather strap, certainly it would fit in just about any type of formal occasion at the highest level, I would think. The bezel is of course fixed. You're not going to have a rotating bezel on a watch like this, and it is topped by a very gently domed sapphire. So gentle that it's hard for me to show actually. It's a very gentle dome on that sapphire there, which is quite nice as well. Moving on to the bracelet then. Also fully polished, as is befitting the rest of the finishing of this watch here. Okay, it's got screw link adjustment as you would expect. Let's just show you. There we go. On that side, you can see the screw links there. And it is a 9-piece per link, 9 individual pieces. And I'll just show you this on the pieces that I have removed. You can see each of these are individual. So it does make it a little bit tricky when you're threading the screw in, that you have to align the holes. These can all move independently. So there's a little bit of trickiness to that, but that's what it is. Individual machined individual pieces for those 9 pieces per link. Really quite a lot of manpower has gone into making the bracelet links. Solid end links, of course. What would you expect? You wouldn't expect anything else. But I have to say this, whilst the quality is, excellent all over, this butterfly deployant is actually just a friction deployant. There is no push button here. Okay, so it just goes in and then frictions out. Okay, which is a surprising thing to me. I would have thought they may have been able to implement, a elegant push button for that, but that's what it is. Okay, so let's just try this on for the wrist shot now. And there we have it, the Girard Perregaux 1966 date and moon phases on my 17 centimeter wrist. And it is a very, very pleasing size to me. Absolutely fits very well. Low profile for a dress watch, easily get a shirt cuff over that. And 45 millimeter lug to lug definitely would fit, I think, most people. It certainly fits me well with my 17 centimeter wrist there. Okay guys, so what have I particularly enjoyed about this watch? Well, you know, it's really at the entry level of high horology, isn't it? You know, it really is a very well finished watch, well done watch with an in-house manufactured movement, which, you know, is, at least to me, it's pleasing to the eye. You know, when I reviewed the previous Jaeger-LeCoultre, I thought that movement was gorgeous, but some people came out and pointed out to me that that wasn't actually very well finished. So let me know what you think, if this indeed is a very well finished movement, or have they actually taken some shortcuts? I'd like to know your thoughts if you have a great knowledge about these finishes here. Okay, and then, you know, I would say that one thing that has been pleasing to me is that this 40mm really wears a lot larger than 40mm. You know, if you look at it, you might think it's 42 or higher in size, but it really just is a 40mm watch. And I think most of that is because the dial is large thanks to the very slimline bezel. You know, take an example of a dive watch. For a dive watch to have a dial this size, you'd probably be looking at 45, 46mm watch or larger instead of a 40mm, because the dive watch would have a big bezel. This has a big dial with a very small bezel, and that's really been quite nice, because it gives a very strong wrist presence thanks to the prominence of that dial. Right, weaknesses? Well, I got nothing to say really, you know. I mean, very nicely finished, absolutely high quality, you know, the finishing all over, little or none to criticize from me. The only thing I would nitpick on is the deployant. You know, that's a friction deployant. I think at this price, surely, you know, it's not a matter of cost, it's a matter of choice, and I'm not sure why it was decided to have a friction deployant rather than a push button. So that's really the only thing. I think as a strict dress, you wouldn't have a bracelet on anyway. You probably change it out to a leather strap. So guys, there you have it. Girard Perregaux, 1966, date and moon phases. Let me know what you think. If you have any experiences about this brand or knowledge about this brand, I would love to hear your thoughts. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. I'm putting out new content weekly, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you next time.